Hello, lovely techies. Welcome and welcome back to K Talks Tech. I'm Kay. Let's talk tech. Okay, so today I want to talk to you about the project manager role. But before I start, I see my hashtag is to the side and over my head. Let me just move that like that so somebody doesn't think it's some other sort of symbol or whatever. This is all about technology. That's all that it is, right? And social media is definitely a part of technology, right? So, on this channel, this is a channel where we encourage underrepresented groups, especially Black women, to pursue a career in technology because I'm also known as that sis in tech, right? Because I'm usually the only one. So, and I really like to see that change. So today I'm going to talk about the project manager role. Um, and I haven't organized my thoughts on this really. Um, Other than I've tried to do this video several times and run into technical issues. So let me just check a couple of things because if I run into a technical issue again, I feel like I might give up. So let's see. Um, is my audio on? Looks like. Okay. And I see the video is on and it's recording. So, yeah, we should be good. So, let's talk about project manager. Now, project manager kind of comes in different flavors because there are roles that are not exactly project manager, but they're very closely related. One that comes to mind is Scrum Master. Um, Another that comes to mind is product manager, which is kind of more of a cross between um, I just want to take these off for a minute because I really don't need them except for reading. Well, I need them for the computer, but I'm not really looking at anything other than myself, and I already know what I look like. So the product manager is kind of like a cross between business analyst and, well, very senior business systems analyst and um, product um, project manager and kind of, I guess, marketing analyst, right? So, um, but that's product manager, right? What we're going to focus on today is pure product manager. So, just to help me get my thoughts together, I guess I'm going to have to put those back on after all. Just want to bring up a little like scratch pad to write some notes on. Okay, so here are the notes we're going to do. This is on project manager. Now, there's a couple of different types. Of course, you could do a junior or a senior, or sometimes they give them numbers. I've never actually seen a number above two. And then the project manager role can be at a higher level, and that's called a program manager. Now, a program manager has one or more project managers reporting to them, right? So the program manager is going to have multiple projects they're working on, and each of those projects would have its own project manager. But the project manager themselves can be working on multiple projects and is the direct project manager for each of those. So we're going to focus on that. A project manager with one or more projects. Now, what do? They run the project. They are responsible for schedule, budget, issues, risks, team, and delivery. So, what do I mean by that, right? So, they're probably also responsible for scope, right? So, let's start with the last one, scope. So, scope means what's covered by the project. right? So when a company gets ready to start a project, they decide what the project entails. Then they call someone to be the project manager and says, okay, here's the project, here's the budget for the project, here's what the project entails, that's the scope. Go forth. Oh, and by the way, here's a schedule that we'd like it done by whatever time. Go forth and do what's necessary to bring that to fruition. Or sometimes you don't get the budget, you don't get the schedule. You have to figure out what those would be yourself. Okay. And whether you get those things or not, you're still going to figure it out, right? Because listen, uh, if your mom asks you to go to the store and says, you know what, I'm looking for some furniture, I don't have time to go all the furniture stores, but could you go out into the marketplace and find out for me what a new bedroom set is going to cost me? Now let's make it simple. A new couch. I want a sectional sofa. I want it to be green. What's it going to cost me? Okay. Your mom just gave you the scope. She said she wanted a green couch, a sectional sofa to be specific. Now you go out, you visit a couple of furniture stores, you look online. You can't find a green sectional anywhere. Or you find a couple, but you also notice that there are some very large sofas that are green that your mom might like. So you come back to your mom and you say, this is what I found, this is how much they cost, and this is what it would take. This is a timing on the delivery to get it to your home. You just gave your mom the budget and the schedule. Okay? Just understand what that is. So that was a very, very simple example from life, but it does illustrate what the project manager does. They want to make sure that whatever the project is stays on schedule, stays within budget, contains what it's supposed to contain. If there are any problems that come up, they take care of those. Any risks, they point those out and they come up with an action plan for risks ahead of time, right? And they manage the team and the delivery of the project. Okay, so now that's my explanation to you. Let us go to, let us go out to our favorite place, salary.com, and find out what they have to say about project manager. Okay. The nice thing about project manager is it's very, very mobile. It's very upgradable. Um, so it's saying project manager makes 73,000 on the average. That's across the entire United States. I rarely see any project managers that are even at 92,000. Most of them make a lot more than that. Okay, so let's see. Let's see. Oh, look at this. Click or scroll to view a level job. Let's see what is there. Project manager 2. Attaching that to you, right? So this, I'm on the East Coast. This looks more like what I see at the lower level, right? I see a lot of project manager consulting roles, and they usually start at $65 an hour. Now, and that's at the lower end, right? Depends on the complexity of the project, the size of the project. So, and then here we have lower level job and upper level. Let's just go up level base they show. Okay, they're showing project manager 3. This is not a whole lot difference in salary. This looks more like what I usually see. Okay. So let's just, let's pick New York City to compare to. So that way, wherever you are in the country, you can compare your cost of living, and that will allow you to come up with a calculation that you can apply to the salary. Okay. Average for project manager 4 is 149. Okay, let's go. We're going back down to just project manager 1. Okay. So it's saying 90%. I just don't really believe this, but okay. Project manager 1, I guess so, yeah, because this would be more entry level, and the jobs that I'm looking at are usually not entry level, so maybe so. So $86,000 is about $43 an hour. Okay. Now, the thing about becoming a project manager is it's not that difficult to get into. Okay. And so if you've seen my other video on how to break in, I've given you a 4-step process. And if you want to be a project manager, you should absolutely follow that same process. The first step would be to get some education. Now, usually project managers do have a 4-year degree, right? Um, let's just peek and see what happens if we put in the 4-year degree. Nothing really happened. Looks like about the same thing. I guess it's another. No, no, because before we were looking at like 90, right? Now this says 107. I think. Let me go back. Was it? No, it's the same. It's the same. Okay. So I think project manager is a great role to do if you are transitioning from another professional position. And I always think of teachers because I'm not encouraging all teachers to leave teaching, but I just think it's such a hard job and they never get what they should. It almost to me almost doesn't matter how much you pay a teacher because it's never going to be enough what they have to go through. Between the students and parents and the administration and all the work that they do outside of the classroom and spending their own money for supplies and so forth, you really have to be dedicated and a good person to want to do that. And then sometimes, well, I don't want to go into that. I just, God bless teachers. That's all I'm saying. So, um, I always think of teachers, especially with the with how unsafe schools can be. It's a lot. And so I always think of teachers when I think of professionals from other um, professions transitioning into tech, right? So if you already have a 4-year degree, you could get yourself the education. After the education, you get yourself a certification and then find yourself a job. Now, the reason I also think of teachers is because who manages more things than a teacher? Moms and God. Like, there's no one else, right? So, just saying. Okay, so that's what they make. But what I really wanted to do is what the job description on salary.com is. Now, they don't always have the perfect job description because these are submitted by people, right? But let's see what they say. All right. Project Manager 1 manages projects from planning to delivery. Liaises between, what is this? Liaises between project members, cross functional teams, external vendors, and other stakeholders to ensure deliverables, requirements, schedules, costs, and meeting plans are communicated. Okay. And that's basically it. You can go and read the rest of this, but jump to the bottom. Project Manager 1 requires 0 to 2 years of related experience. So if you were a teacher or in any profession where you coordinated some sort of project, that's project management experience, right? You just have to learn the official process and the lingo. And that's what the education will teach you. After you get the education, you need to get an industry certificate in order to give yourself that edge to enter the profession. That's what I would do. Where would I get this education? There's a number of different places that do project management um, education. So it'll be called a project management certificate because when you take the class, you'll get a certificate, but do not confuse that with the industry certification. So I'm going to break all those things down right now. So I think the best place to get a project management certificate is probably a continuing education department of a college. I am a certified project manager. I had a lot of experience managing projects in my career, and so I leveraged that experience to become a certified project manager, right? And so I got the education from a continuing education department of a college, and I did it in person. At the time that I got mine, there weren't as many online programs, but I would get it online absolutely if I could. Now, if you colleges tend to be expensive, and if you don't want to go that route, then the next place to go is this Google Career Certificate. The Google Career Certificates are very well respected, um, and they are relatively inexpensive. So, Google delivers a certificate program with a number of courses in it through this Coursera education provider. Coursera charges $49 a month. So, the faster you can do it, the less you're going to pay. Um, Google, for most, let me just scroll down so you can see this better. For most of their certificates, Google says it'll take 6 months at 10 hours a week. But if you can increase that, then you can decrease how long it'll take you accordingly, right? So let's just see what they say about this particular one. Okay. Every time you go to look at a certificate, it's going to say enroll for free on the current date, right? Because you can start at any time. Okay. So let's see. Let's see the details. It's a 6 course series, 6 months at 10 hours a week. So if you had some weekends or some time off where you could add in some more hours, then I would do, if I were a teacher, what I would do is I would do this over the summer. I would take that 10 hours a week and change it to 40 hours a week, and I would be finished with this in under 2 months, right? Now, recommended experience, nothing, no degree or prior experience required. Um, Now, here's the thing about the Google certificates. They really do emphasize they're created for people who don't want to go the college route. Okay. If you already have a degree, great, you can still do this. If you don't have a degree, great, you can still do this. But most of the project management jobs do ask for a 4 year degree. Now, Google is different because they have created this community where they have these certificates, and when you get a certificate through them, you join a community of companies that are committed to hiring people out of this program. Okay, so that's the beauty of using Google Career Certificate. When you go to college route, you probably are not going to have that, right? So I think I might just change my mind from what I said earlier. Maybe this is a better way to go just because you get that job uh, support. Now they don't give you a job, but they give you what they have is a community or a job board that's only for the graduates of their programs. So that definitely helps, right? So here it tells you all the skills you'll get. Um, Let's see. Oh, yeah, here it is. Get exclusive access to career resources upon completion. Resume review. That's nice. Someone will help you with your resume. You'll get interview prep and career support. Plan your career move with Coursera's job search guide. But this is the part I was talking about. Connect with 150 plus U.S. hiring organization in Google's employer consortium. So and these are major companies like this is not, this is not, these are Fortune 500. So to know that, and this is just the beginning, there's 150 of them, so to know that there is a some companies that support this is great. um this is interesting. Positive career outcome, new job promotion or raise within 6 months of completion. That's a footnote to what? Where's that to at? What is it footnoting? I don't see what it footnoted, but I think that's good information to know. Okay, they give you a career certificate when you complete the program, and then here's what's in it. There's a 6 course series, right? So if I were unemployed and I had a 4-year degree, or I had been in some sort of supervisory position without a degree, or I'm right out of school, this is a way to go. I'm emphasizing the 4-year degree and the supervisory experience because that gives you an edge. And that's just what it is. So they're saying median entry level salary is 77,000. Let's see what else do they have. Yeah, you plan the project. So that's what you're going to do. You come up with the scope, you plan the project, you execute the project, you manage the project, um, and then you deliver it. Um, so if you see right here, they're talking about these. They've mentioned these industry certifications I was talking about, and I'm going to get to these in a minute, but not right away. I'm gonna I want to finish with this part first, the education. So there's 6 classes you have to take. I would put my focus one class at a time. This class is 18 hours. You could do this in a weekend. And it's foundation. So that should be fairly simple, right? So I would definitely find the time. I would just take a weekend and say, I'm going to push this out. And I would do that. Same thing here, 23 hours, right? Then putting it all together. Okay, this is 33 hours. It's going to take you a little bit longer. But if you have some days that the school is closed and you don't have anything that you're doing, or you have some days off from work, or if you're unemployed, you should be these two should be done in a week. This one a week. 30 hours, that's a week. 28 hours, that is this plus starting this. So if you're unemployed, you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think you could finish this in 6 weeks or less if you put in 40 hours a week. And you don't have to do 8 hours. Look, the truth is, it's kind of hard to be in class 8 hours a day. I've done it before. It's not easy to keep your attention 8 hours a day, but you could do 6 hours a day and a Saturday. So just something to think about because I would want to get this part done as soon as possible. And the reason I would try to get it done as soon as possible, I'm sorry, I'm just looking at a few other things here, seeing if there's anything else down here to look at. I would want to get this done as soon as possible so I could A, start looking for a new role, and B, start on my industry certification. So let's talk about that because they mentioned it here too. This is an industry certification. Okay, so there are certain professions that have um, that manage certifications, and they have tests for specific roles. If you pass the test, you get this certification. That's saying that you really know how to do something, right? So, in addition to the Google Career Certificate, I would absolutely get one of these project management certificates. So, the Project Management Institute, or PMI, is very well respected, um, and they have a couple of certificates that are relevant to what we're discussing here today. Well, they have more than a couple, but the ones that are relevant to this particular um, role are the two that are mentioned here. So there's like an entry level one, and that's the certified associate. And then there's the one for people who have experience in project management. Now, if you go to, I'll just click one of these. If you go to pmi.org, which that's where it took us to, you can read all about their different certifications and so forth. But the point I want to make is this is the entry level one. You don't need any industry experience to get this, right? You just need some education. And it tells you what you need, right? If you click over here, map your journey, right? It talks to you about the process. So you click here for the CAPM exam. You can take the exam online. And somewhere in here, it tells you what it is you need. And it's not on this page. It tells you exactly what it is you need to do, or what exactly is your eligibility for that particular exam. Okay, let's see if it's here. Now that's back to the page we were on, so maybe it's on here. Here they mention it's 3 hours and 150 questions. Now, their flagship certification is this project management professional. I have this. You know, when I was a kid growing up, I was teased for being smart, and they used to call me a brainiac. And uh, by the time you come out of high school, you're going to have glasses and braces and so forth, because that's what happens to smart people, right? But here's the thing, I'm an excellent test taker. And this is the only exam I've ever taken in my entire life. School, college, and updated skill classes. This is the only exam I've ever taken where I had no idea if I was actually passing the exam until it was over. So I tell you that to say this is not an easy test. Now, CAPM, I never took that, I don't know. But this PMP, you need to really study for that. But we're still talking about CAPM. Um, so for these certifications, they require some education, some experience, and an exam. If you take the Google class, you've gotten the education, okay? If you're if you are pursuing CAPM, you don't need any experience. You can see here is saying this is like entry level, project coordinator, and junior project manager. Let me just say a word about this. Don't ever call yourself a project coordinator, because there's a difference in level mentally and skill set between project coordinator and junior project manager to most people. And you could be doing the exact same thing, and you'll be seen as, since you're a project coordinator, you're seen as not ready for project management. You see what I'm saying? So try to have your title be junior project manager. Okay. All right. So Okay, earning this means automatically mean that 35 hours of project management education and training required. Okay, you see this here? So if you get this certification, then you're ready for the next level PMP. I actually did not know that. 35 hours of project management education and training required to sit. Okay. So it's saying if you get the CAPM, then you can build on that and get the PMP. That's very nice to know because PMP is well respected. The minute I got it, it helped me get a new job and it's never stopped helping me since. So I would highly recommend that. And here we go. This is what we want. Are you eligible for CAPM? Here's what you have to do. You got to be a high school graduate and you need 23 hours of education. And that's it. Now, there's a cost for the exam. Listen, nobody does anything for free. Here's the cost. If you join PMI, which I would suggest that you do, because if you're going to get this certification, this is not a one and done thing. You have to keep this, you have to keep recertifying for these certifications. So you don't have to take an exam again, but you have to show that you're staying in touch with what's going on with the industry. You've continued to educate yourself and so forth. So, um, the price of the membership, I think it's $160 last time I checked. If you're a student, you can get you get a reduced price. So if you're out of work, you can get a reduced price. So yeah, it says it right here. Are you a student? Apply for our student bundle for substantial savings. So CAPM is going to cost you $225 as a member, and it's worth getting the membership since I would suggest that you don't stay at CAPM. You keep going and you get that PMP because this is entry level. You can't stay there forever, right? The idea is to get into project management, get some experience, and then get your PMP. Okay. And this thing we just read that you can take this and once you have this, you can go after the PMP right away. So if that's, I kind of don't really believe that. I would need to look into that to make sure that's what exactly they mean. But if that's true, I would do that. Um, you need to look at both of these. This tells you what's on the exam. This tells you everything about this process. So let's take a look at this real quick. First of all, it's 31 pages, so we're not going to go into it too much, but this tells you how to use it. It lays out all the different certifications. So let's just talk about this for a second. So CAPM, that's the one we were just looking at. The PMI, Agile Certified Practitioner, that's something else that has to do with methodology. I don't want to talk about that. They have one for business analysts. They got one for risk managers. They have one for scheduling professionals. Um, they have one for portfolio management, one for program management, and this is the flagship project management professional. So this entry level this entry level one, well, these are not listed in any particular order because this is entry level and right above that would be project management professional. Because if I recall correctly, you have to have this. That's not what I meant to do. I didn't mean to actually click it. I believe you have to have the PMP to go after some of these PMI ones. I know for sure you have to have it to go after a program. So these are higher levels of project. So I mentioned before, if you're a project manager, as you increase your responsibility and size of projects, you can become a program manager. The next level up from that is portfolio manager. I've never seen anybody ask for this credential, but I see people ask for PMP all the time. They ask for I've seen them ask for actually, I don't see them ask for program management that much. But if you had it, it would be a lovely feather in your cap. I do see them ask for certified associate. I've seen them ask for business analysis. Even though this business analysis certification is really put there to be the equivalent of another BA of the standard BA certification. So there's another group that does business analysis certification, and they have a certified business analyst professional CBAP certification. And so PMI came up with this one to kind of be an alternative to that one. But the IIBA, which is the International Institute of Business Analysts, works with PMI.org all the time. So the advantage is that if you're a BA and you get a PMP, you could get a BA certification within the same organization, and that's less money that you're paying. That's basically what that is. Um, But yeah, this is the flagship and this is the entry level. So this handbook will take you through everything you ever wanted to know about all of these things and didn't know who to ask, because this is the Bible when it comes to, and just to be, culturally sensitive, this is a religious writing, okay, when it comes to PM, to project management certification. So they do random audits, right? So when you have to list your experience as a project manager if you go after the PMP. This doesn't relate to CAPM, but when you put that information on that paper, make sure that you're being 1000% honest, because they do random audits. Okay? And if you can't prove your experience, they kick you out. And that's not a good look, right? You don't want to do that. Okay, so I'm just going to close this up. Um so let me go back. Let's go back to here. So, that's all about project management professional, all about the education and how you become certified in the industry, the value it is to you, how much you can make, what you have to do. Um, and I have to tell you that it does sound very simple. I've given you a very simplified description of what a project management manager does, but it can be a lot of pressure. So you have to be a person who can deal with that, because the buck stops with you. If there's something wrong with that project, you're the person who needs to figure out what to do next and how to fix it. Of course, there's always support. Some project managers, depending on the size of the project or the size of the organization, some project managers um, don't manage budgets, because a budget can be managed at a different level. The budget might be managed from a program level, and you're doing a project within the program. Um, there are very specific techniques to use, and there's a lot to remember for those tests. The questions are tricky. Okay, so besides the membership, you have to pay for the test. We didn't look at the cost of the test. Cost of the test. I'm going to let you do that on your own if you're that interested to know. But the last time I looked at it, which could be a couple years ago, it was around $400. Um, and you couldn't take it from home. You had to go to a testing center. So it's good that you can take it from home now. The last time I took one was in 2017. So it's been like 6 or 7 years. Um, so yeah, that's all about Project Manager. If you have any questions about that, certainly do reach out to me or post them in the comments. Let's see, what else can I say? Oh, there is one little thing I want to bring up about project manager. Okay, so I guess I don't need any visuals for that. So there are different flavors of project manager in terms of the types of projects they work on. And basically, you have a project manager who works on business projects, right? And then there's a special type of project manager who works on technology projects, and that's called an IT project manager. So information technology is not something you can just pick up, right? You have to understand it's a special set of skills, it's a special set of knowledge. You have to understand systems thinking. What is the process that you go through to develop a system? Oh, you know what I should do? I should do a video with you where we create a website. I just sit here and do the website and you go through the anger and the pain with me. And the fun and the exhilaration. I'll think about that because that I could describe systems thinking to you from now until I turn purple, but it's not the same as going through it. And so when you go through it, that's when you really see. And then you'll know if you catch the bug or not. Um, However, I don't code anymore, so it would definitely not be something where I had to do any coding. So it would be like a no code solution, maybe a WordPress site, just maybe like a simple one page thing. Yeah, we should do that. I'm gonna think about if I have enough time to add that in. And I think it's worthwhile for people who are not considering careers in tech to just understand it from a systems thinking perspective. When somebody's telling you, oh, we couldn't do that because the system, you'll know if they're lying. It won't get you anything, but at least you'll know in your heart, right? Um, so yeah, I'm gonna put more thought into that. IT project management pays more than business project management. Usually, we have a weird market right now, so that's why I have to say usually. Um, but what really increases your salary is the level of project. The more expensive the project, the more complex the project, the larger the project, the more money you make, and that's how you progress in this profession, right? Great if you have a 4 year degree, you can still do it if you don't, but I feel like as you're trying to progress, you're going to get to a point where you can't go any further without that 4 year degree in project management. Um, so yeah, that's project management. So if you could like the video and subscribe to the channel and turn on your those notifications and help me spread the word with this channel, I would greatly appreciate it. Um, Again, my goal with this channel is to get underrepresented groups in tech to consider a career in tech, but especially Black women. But anybody who can use this content is more than welcome to use it. Um, I do have a website where I'm doing some coaching, and I'm still I feel like I'm making, let's say I'm making some changes to it that I think will make it more accessible. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. The link is in the description box. And come back at another time and join me where we will continue to talk tech. Bye now.